All right, this is the CBN, the Conspiracy Broadcasting Network. I am on vlog 107, just making sure that I keep putting my objectifiable facts out there and the truth. And I want to make sure that my story is validated by documenting it and making sure that I put out the pictures and the evidence, which I have some third party working so rigorously to make sure that it doesn't come to fruition for some reason. This Conspiracy Broadcasting Network is a vlog on Anarchy and what I would consider a COINTELPRO-like program that I was inducted in ever since I was a child, going through my teenage years, where we had a bunch of manipulation and grooming going on, and food poisoning by the family every 2 years, and just a bunch of cyberstalking. And even in my college years, it was about crowd influence and people leading me to certain women, using semantics of my middle name and having redhead, my middle name being Sebastian, and people link that to the crab on Little Mermaid. And so they use a redhead to lead me to a relationship, which ultimately didn't work out, but led to a bunch of problems down the road. And they used it in microbiology. And then about a few years later, I had a guy by the name of Joseph Rose tell me all of these things and hypnotize me essentially while we were at the bar, while I was drinking a beer. And he essentially started seeding my brain using hypnosis through all the milestones of my life, going forward into the future, telling me when I would go bald, telling me when I would have a heart attack when I'm 55, telling me when I'll make money, telling me when I'll get fired, telling me all of these things basically. And then people in society as a whole begin playing into it using perpetual cyber stalking on foot, stalking in vehicles. The list goes on. So police, they use permissive neglect and coercive control. And it's literally anarchy. Violations of law, it's such a degree you wouldn't be able to imagine. Nothing that you can do pro se wise, because even the court gives you inappropriate information, and the pro se guides, they lead you astray. Even though you're following them to the T, you'll go to the clerks and they'll say, well, you don't need this sheet, you don't need that sheet, even though the pro se guide for their district says you do. And the list goes on. It's all a campaign of what would be considered the classic 1960s, 1970s disrupt, disturb, discredit, right? And so on this vlog 107, I'm going to update my weekly experiences of this program, where nothing has changed except the white SUVs have kind of simmered down a little bit. And then the last 2 months, I've noticed that they've been driving a lot of wide pipe, big pipe vehicles like trucks by to make a more noise pollution. And I've stopped everything in person working because the noise pollution and the visual pollution is to such a degree, and the police want to play into it. And then they want to use permissive neglect, even though you spent years and you have a whole binder of information and dates and times. And then at the same time, they're making sure to destroy information when you're trying to get the cessation of the program to stop. When you have a mental problem because you can't handle it, then they don't care. They're just there to fucking erase you and put stuff on your background, and the list goes on. Okay. So here's what I'm dealing with since last vlog. And I'm just going to start from the most recent, like yesterday, for example, and then work my way back. I think usually I go all the way back and try to work myself up to the recent. But so since my arrest on the 19th, because I had vehicles following me, and then the police didn't like the fact that I was frantic and they wouldn't let me talk. They felt the need to arrest me and then give me resisting arrest and all this other stuff. So now I'm stuck in this house, which I originally bought for rental, and now I'm stuck here. I've left my nursing. I left my EMS because I don't feel like dealing with the people and all those things that you can see on my other blogs and all the explanations I've given. And yesterday I went to the gym. I try to do my best to stay, healthy, but there's all these things that are countering that. And so I'm really trying to work on getting my own home gym. So unfortunately, I have to drive to these places, and they saturate these gyms with abuse. Always people wearing blue shirts, always trash around you in your line of sight or where you stand, and they deliberately put trash on the machines that they know you're going to be at. Okay, I've already explained all this in the past. But since my arrest, I was diagnosed with Raynaud's, and it's a peripheral arterial disease due to chronic stress. And I've been telling them to stop doing, to stop touching me and to stop following me and all this for years, for 10 plus years. And it hasn't stopped. And it went to excess of the police giving me a ticket for calling them, okay, in the past. This is way back in 2015, okay? So they didn't even want you to call them for it. And long story short, I moved to here, and all of the utilities that I use have problems. All of these things that I've already explained in the previous blogs. What I noticed yesterday was a couple of things popped up, which was since about maybe a month ago or so, all of a sudden my water heater, it doesn't turn off. So in the past 2 years, these utility companies have been turning off my heater, and they'll time it when I mow the yard, my water heater, to turn the gas off. Then I got to go relight it. And now all of a sudden it stopped, and now it works just fine. Okay. And they were doing it more when I had tenants in here, like they're trying to punk me and embarrass me, like my water heater wasn't working or whatever. But now the heat's fine. So it works and it doesn't turn off. But when it was turning off, it was always turning off whenever I timed coming in from mowing the yard. They knew that I was going to mow the yard, then I go take a shower. I mow the yard, I take a shower. What they'll do is they'll go in there, and then they will blip the water heater gas resources, and then I got to go in there and relight it. So they were doing that for months, for years, okay, since I moved here in this little, basically it's a small little house. But yesterday, I thought about that yesterday. But yesterday also, I went to the gym, and I was thinking about this, the SSRI that I had to start taking, because I thought that the serotonin was going to help with the vasospasms. And I mean, it did. It took away some of the frequency, because it was on, sometimes I know when I was without it before, it would be happening multiple times a day. But now I had to take amlodipine and I have to take the SSRI. It helps, but I don't like the fact that SSRIs have a high anticholinergic property, and I don't like that for long-term brain health. And long story short, I was thinking about that the past couple days. And what this program is doing is they're remotely surveying everything that I do and everything that I say. Everything is bugged. I can't just live a life and go about life without being having some type of intrusive technology. They're always in my emails. This has been going on since the end of high school. And so everything is tapped and hacked, just like Edward Snowden says. You have a panel and a group of people somewhere, somehow, using GPS technology to intercept and always survey everything you do and everything you think. And then what's happening is people in society are able to talk about the things that you think about. They're able to use semantics about the things that you think about. And in this case, yesterday, because I was thinking about the whole SSRI thing and dosages and stuff, I just finished out a leg workout, and this is typical. They'll they'll use semantics in the gym, and so this is me literally walking out of the men's bathroom, and there's this white little pill, and it just so happens that the white little pill that I take is similar to this. And the thing about it is it's not just a coincidence, because this type of semantics and this type of mocking, okay, of the way of what you're thinking, or what you recently thought about, or what you recently browsed, or what you recently bought, or what recently happened in your house, or what you recently said. The difference between this and other mistakes or coincidences is those things happen years later or weeks later. This type of abuse happens within 24 to 48 hours, and I talked about that in my last blog. How this campaign and this anarchy, the way this cyberstalking works, is, and that wasn't there when I came in the gym. It was there when I came out. So that's how this whole thing works. Is they're going to make a comment, they're going to do something within 24 to 48 hours afterwards. You can reference like my video on Mark's Outdoors. You can reference a lot of my vlogs and the abuse that and the stalking and cyber stalking that I've gone through. And so this was yesterday at like 10 o'clock at night, right before they were closing. Okay. I have a problem with this spam that's ongoing still. And I found that the superficial wounds, abrasions that I had incurred from being arrested, if you recall, was February 19th. I have these old scars, right? And then for some reason now I have this skin lesion. I have some type of skin lesion on top of this old healing wound from being arrested and being thrown into or speared into the car. Okay. And then landing on the ground, and then them forcing me to be on the ground, and I'm got all these abrasions. Now, this is old. I should have any more scar tissue or keloids. We're talking 3 months ago, like 2.5, over 3 months ago, basically. Okay. So over 3 months ago, this side, my right knee is healed just fine. And it has the scar tissue is all healed. This side, this is the scar tissue, but it has this new growth on it all of a sudden. I don't know what this is. You can see there's scar tissue around it, which is healed. Okay. But for some reason, now there's a new growth dead in the middle, and I don't know what it is. So now I have to go to a dermatologist. Okay. So now I have to go to a dermatologist. I got to spend money to figure that out. I had to go to the physician, get SSRIs, and figure that out. Got to take lifelong fucking peripheral arterial disease, blood pressure medications, right? I got to take and stop nursing. I got to take and stop EMS. I got to do all of these things because anarchy, okay? Because the justice system hasn't figured it out. When I said that this is going on 10 years ago, this is what we're going, this is the route that we're going down, right? Chronic oxidative stress, cardiovascular disease, fucking who knows what, going to dermatologists, going through the expensive therapy of probably cryo, or maybe it's fucking benign cancer. I don't fucking know. But this is the problem. And then after that, they want to continue to harass you, and they want to continue to follow you, okay, and do this dumb shit. So here we are. So I had to make, again, an appointment. So next, I order groceries, right? Because I'm stocked everywhere I go. So I got to order fucking groceries. Okay. When I order groceries, I get something that I didn't order, a melon. Okay. So I don't know what that's about, but I got something extra. Okay. Usually it's something to do with, it has something to do with semantics. I don't know what it's about. Long story short, they gave me an extra melon. I didn't need it. I'm going to throw it out. Okay. I just want to stick to facts. There's people that are using semantics in the past on my social media, like my Facebook. And then what they'll do is they'll also use empathy. And the problem with that is I'm not here to answer or be concerned with anybody's inquiries or questions or anything of that nature, comfort or any of that, God, religion, nothing. This is about the facts. This is my vlog, which I want to be able to look back on and say, these were the facts. There was no influence. There was no second thoughts, no guesses. I'm just sitting here stating the facts. I don't give a damn what anyone's got to think. I don't give a damn about anyone's opinion. This is a totalitarian campaign, okay, to control, manipulate, and marginalize somebody's life. This is attack on their personal life. This is attack on their professional life. This is an all-encompassing attack to destroy someone's life and trash someone's life. End of discussion, okay? This has been going on for years. This is a program that is targeting me through technology and is able to basically put you in psychosocial situations in time when your emotional state is right so that they could take advantage of you. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about an organism here. We're talking about a sophisticated campaign of technology that's built around accuracy and precision, okay? That's all I care about getting out on here. I don't care about anyone's feelings. I don't care about anyone's perceptions. I don't care about any of it. Okay. So this is, I guess for some reason she's given me this melon. I don't know what the deal is with that. When I talked about the glass, we talked about the glass last vlog on 106, and how I know that they were going to mock me within 24 to 48 hours, just like the pill. I was thinking about the pill 24 to 48 hours later. What was happening? The fucking pill's on the ground. And here we are. Talked about the glass breaking in the kitchen. Here we are. I was in 1/3 of the gym the entire time, okay, that I was there on this particular day. And this was the only one in that sector. They have all those other benches, portable benches, all the way down the gym corridor and the backside. This was the only one that had marks on it like that. Okay. So that's what they're going to do. Just like I said, I'm not member. In 106, I said, look, I'm not even going to go to the gym this evening because I already know what they're going to do. I went the next morning and someone left it like this at like 4 in the morning. I got there and this was what it was like. Okay, this is a picture of my yard, and for some reason, my neighbor, he likes to bring his I don't want to say bring, but he lets the dog out randomly, and the dog will just come and shit in the yard. And then every time, I don't know what he's feeding his dog, but his dog has like radioactive shit. Literally. Every time that dog shits in my yard, the compounds and the preservatives or whatever is basically kills the grass. So you got all these little spots in the grass when the dog comes over and shits in the yard. It's only his dog. My dogs, they don't have any of that shit going on. Matter of fact, one of my dogs, he actually goes to the very fringes, and I didn't even teach him this. He's 2 years old. When I adopted him, he was 2 years old. He's going on 3. And this dog will roll around the yard, and he'll find the edge, and he'll poop inside the edge of the brush where the brush meets the grass. He doesn't ever really shit on the grass. But this guy, my neighbor, what he'll do is he'll wait until I'm going through a bunch of stress or I'm doing something to accomplish the day, like mow the yard study real hard, go to school, go get groceries, catch a big fish, go fishing, catch a lot of fish, have a good day, dress nice, whatever, okay? Whatever mental state that I'm in, he'll let the dog out, the dog will come over, and then he'll shit in the fucking yard. This has been going on for 2+ years, okay? Before my arrest, it's going on 2 years before my arrest, then he let it go on after my arrest. I already sent him a letter, okay? This is just more pictures. Okay. We talked about going to the Planet Fitness, where I was stalked that day on the 19th. Okay. When I was stalked that day on the 19th, and that whole week where they went to follow me, I was only going to school on Saturdays. So they were stalking me, going to school on Saturdays, to school, back from school. And then I'm studying. They decide that they're going to come up to my house, okay, and stalk me at my house in my driveway. Then they're going to stalk me whenever I'm going fishing. Then they're going to stalk me when I'm going to the gym. So I call 911, and it's now posted. I decided that I want my truth to be told. I want what's going on to be told. So I let it be told. I'm opening up all of my videos to public again, instead of private. So you can go back to whatever vlog that was on around the 19th of February, and you can hear and listen to the arrest. And I've got more videos around the scenery, okay, and what's going on, especially my front dash cam showing and reflecting the white SUVs in his lane, the white SUV directly behind me, and the ones in the intersection, and even the jogger that I was talking about. That's all going to be posted, but I had to preserve it because there's somebody removing my evidence. Okay. Long story short, this is like 2 months later or a month and a half later. I decided I'm going to go to this gym around the area that I was arrested at. Okay. When I go in there, I'm walking inside the men's room entrance. It does like a little zigzag like this, little horseshoe. And the second I go in there, it leads you directly in a diagonal fashion. And then they have these two things here. And this is what I'm talking about with the trash. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. So they put 2 napkins there immediately so you see it whenever you enter the men's room. And they had charged me with 2 misdemeanors, right? 1 for disorderly conduct, 2 for resisting arrest. Okay. They felt the need to fucking tase me because they wouldn't let me stand and they wouldn't get off of me. They felt the need to tase me. Okay. And the whole time you have a linebacker holding you like this, and one guy on this arm, one guy on this arm, and they're shoving you, walking you directly back at almost a gallop straight into your vehicle. Okay. And they want to tase you. And they won't let. So long story short, I'm going to get into that in the courtroom. So this is the semantics that I had to be reintroduced to whenever I went back to the gym. Okay. Again, all of these semantics are surrounded around the places that I frequent. So they know that this particular gym in that particular area is an area of convenience, and it's an area where my resources don't have a lot of wear and tear. I could literally just go a straight shot there and come back. And this is what historically they've done in the past, which is in other states, is they're going to target those areas that you frequent. Okay. They're going to target your interest. They're going to target your passions. All of these words right here. Okay. I stopped tournament fishing because it's all a program of stalking and cyber stalking. I've been fishing around here in Alabama, and I've got boats that are cyber stalking me and using harassing comments and tactics. And you're always trying to fight the boats. You're always trying to get the performance that you know you can get, but the boats are always there to harass you and abuse you. and get in front of you every time you're in these tournaments, right? And then you have to listen to the semantics when you get back, okay, from the end of the day, all right? And the other thing is the whole time you're sitting there doing all of this, you have hundreds of thousands of vehicles following you around everywhere you go, red vehicles and all kinds of patterns of vehicles, basically putting visual pollution in your train of view, your side of view at all times. And so it throws you off your game, you're mentally tired, and you're the only one out there doing the physical labor and putting in the work. And you got all these other guys on motors. And you should be having a motor too, but you can't do that because you got to deal with the semantics and the abuse of all of the employers in the EMS system and the healthcare system that you've been affiliated with. Okay. And then on the backside of that, they make sure that the bars associations and the lawyers aren't giving you any type of justice or the pursuit of justice by leading you astray deliberately. Okay. So you're stuck in this cul-de-sac. Okay. What they'll do is they'll start targeting, knowing that you're going to get a specific place. So they'll make sure that you don't get rewards, like you don't get trophies. And what they'll do is they'll start giving trophies after the fact. And they'll start abusing you that way too. So if you enjoy, getting like little accolades and stuff, they make sure that the year that you compete, that they don't do certain things. Okay, this is not, I'm not talking about this company here. I'm talking about other things. But in the past, okay, there's been patterns that I've been picking up on. So I just stop competitive fishing until I have what I need, and then I'm out doing what I'm supposed to do, right? It's just like PEDs in bodybuilding, right? Why would you show up to a bodybuilding competition if you're not on PEDs? Why would you not? You think you're going to win Olympia when being natty? Let's be real, okay? So the other thing that I've noticed, lastly, I just want to keep this one super duper short, is I went through my communications on some of my the women that I was texting, and what they went through, what they did is they went through the text messages and they removed some of the derogatory things or some of the things that could be perceived as derogatory. They removed that from my text messages. And this isn't the first time that they've done this type of thing. There's a female a year ago or so that I was speaking to, and she was in like the fitness industry and everything. And she had said something, and I realized that the message, and this is not WhatsApp, this isn't Signal, this is regular texting, SMS, but they went through and erased what she sent me. This isn't the first time. When I was in physician assistant school, you had hundreds of thousands of people making noise and stomping all over my ceiling in the apartment, and all of these vehicles following me around. And then you would have people text you, hey, how's it going? All of these people who didn't talk to you before, all of a sudden show up in your text messages, hey, how's it going? And then what they do is then they erase those. So the person overwatching it with either the Pegasus or the updated edition of it or whatever it is will go through and then erase the evidence. Okay, like nothing was said, nothing was done. Same thing with when I started posting this CBN on my Facebook. You have people showing up, specifically one guy from my childhood saying that people wanted him to check up on me. So it's just like you have people that that hasn't said anything, and then you see kind of what it is for, just like when they say who are friends and who are not, you start seeing the patterns of what's going on around you. And long story short, that's what I noticed here recently is that they're gone through the text messages and erased the text messages. So if you were to show up on, let's say, a court or something, there's no evidence that anything was said or done by that person. So that gives them the deflection, if you will. And that's how this works, is it's cyber stalking. So you could pull information and make it disappear. Same thing with your IT stuff, anything that's IT related. If you're in a software program, if you're in an EMR, an EHR, or anything of that nature, anything that is cyber related, okay? This is the main theme of everything that I've spoken about way back in the 70s, 80s vlogs regarding my dash cam and anything and everything with a Wi-Fi, okay? This is what they use, and this is the Anarchy. This is their main tool. And on top of that, I've been told they're using the GPS satellites in order to track me, okay? Some type of grid. That's all I know. They could be false for all I know. All I care about is the fact that it has accuracy and precision, so I know it's technology. I could say it's a UFO if I want to. I don't care what it is. It's just a simple fact that it's got accuracy and precision. So it, like I always say, it's technology. End of discussion. The problem is you have hundreds of thousands of people using it, and they're using Anarchy to bounce your life around and deprive you of finances based off of things that aren't true. And then when you go to prove things, you're denied the access. Okay, you're denied the access to the justice system. And I have on record the antagonism of the justice system. Okay, so here we are. This was vlog 107. That's all I really have to say today. The last thing, one more thing. So regarding the white SUVs, and I said I wanted to get a white SUV, and all of a sudden they're stalking me with this whole pattern and this frequency deal. I was talking about a Durango, I think way back in like the 80s vlogs, 90 vlogs, okay? And I said that they're liking to use the things you like, okay, the things that you have an aptitude for, the things that you have an interest of, and then the things that you don't like. And so in this case, because my mother was driving a white SUV, and I started picking up on the abuse on her behalf and the deceit. And, you know, even when I was a boy, I remember that I didn't like the fact that I had to be put in a fucking harness as a child, like the little leash harness things, right? And so the thing is, and there's more to it, way more, like the food poisoning and all this other bullshit, right? And neglecting the ADHD and just a list of things, right? They start using the things in the relationship, the relational stress, basically. And my neighbor moved out about 3 months ago, I want to say, maybe even 4 months ago. Actually, probably, yeah, last year, I think, end of last year. And they came back, and now they have almost looks like a relatively new silver gray Dodge Durango in this park right here, so that every time I go in the backyard, I have to see it. Okay. So they knew that I wanted a Durango, so then they had the neighbor go and do that and buy that. So the neighbors are always revolving around you. Same thing with the mail from my neighbor over here, or the way she grabs a trash can, okay, whenever I complete something out of her back, so it's near one of my windows type thing, and making noise pollution with the trash can. And the list goes on. The neighbor in front of me letting his dog shit in the yard. The list goes on. I can go on for days, right? Days. I can go on for weeks, okay, and talk about this stuff. So the SUV deal is about taking my wants and interests and then abusing me with them, and then forcing me to go through this life isolated. And what's crazy is the women are abusing you. They know they're abusing you, but yet they're continuing to match with you. And every time you go to a new occupation, or I should say a new position, they'll have women with their bio, okay, linked to what it is that you're doing. So if I'm going to enter, for example, let's just say the welding industry, there's going to be a woman who pops up that might catch my interest who says she's in welding. And the list goes on. They're constantly predating on you at all times. Okay. Your Facebook feeds and your Spotify. The Spotify deal is I want to touch on that actually. So this week I noticed that what they're doing is they're sliding in new Spotify channels, which I didn't ask for, and I wasn't interested in. And so what's happening is just like they're putting your character on a video game in a server associated with abuse and associated with semantics. Okay, every time you go onto a multiplayer match, those players in the server are deliberately dressed in a certain color to coordinate what's outside in the environment of your house. Okay, or they'll have phrases, their name tags will have something associated with what you're doing in the house or how you're feeling at the time. They're taking your Spotify and they're sliding in these new tracks, these playlists. The problem with that is these playlists all have songs associated with what you're doing in daily life or what you're thinking or what you're going through in daily life. So when you listen to music, what ends up happening is you get into this train of thought about any hardships, and they're forcing this mockery of what you're going through. Okay, if someone like Eminem or 50 Cent is rapping and they say something about your right leg in that track will be in the playlist, knowing that your right leg is a little weaker because you have a history of that ruptured Achilles tendon from this campaign and this anarchy. Okay, we talked about it when we were talking about the kitchen deal, and whenever I go to grab something in the kitchen, all of a sudden they're playing something on a commercial and it has something to do with what I'm doing in the kitchen. So everything is relational. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you away from music. Anything and everything that's therapeutic, anything and everything that is beneficial for your health. Just like I showed you right here on the way I'm abused in the gym. Okay? The one thing that you would gravitate to naturally to be healthy would be something like the gym and perhaps nutrition. So what do? They go and they send auditory fucking abuse, again, cyberstalking, in order to undermine and sabotage that. Oh, you like nursing? Or you like taking care of people? Okay, we're going to get you to live the life opposite of that. And that's what this has been about for the past 18 years, is living a life opposite of what I want. Okay, living a life opposite of what I've worked hard to do, and living life opposite of family, friends, health, and all of these things. And they want you to continue down this train until they get what they want from you, which is to basically live the opposite. So live in a trailer park, live homeless, all of these things. And they don't give a damn about whether or not you're right. They don't give a damn. They're not giving you justice. It doesn't matter how many times I have stuff on people. They're not giving you justice. And they think, again, that I have to go and defend myself. And what I notice is you go into the court and you're talking to these people and they want to give you no peace of mind, even in the court. Okay? So this is what you're dealing with. And so what's on paper doesn't paint the picture. This is why it's so important that I have to get this out there. Because what's on paper on my background doesn't paint appropriate picture whatsoever. This is a political deal. This is a conspiracy. Okay? And you're always isolated at all times. What I don't understand is these women will continue to match with you, but they'll have no interest in ever pursuing anything. And they'll still continue to match with you. They'll still fucking do it. And this has been going on for a decade, well over a decade. And they're still going to continue to match with you, meaning that they're literally watching you and reading about you. And then what happens is you go out into this reality, and then these people will continue the narcissism and say they don't know who you are. They want to ask you your name. They want to act like they don't know who you are, but they have hundreds of thousands of people following you everywhere you go. I was picking up on this when I was real early EMT, and you have these crowds of adults trying to get you to date these women in the nursing homes, like the CNAs and stuff. They're always trying to, hey, this girl likes you, go talk to her. It's always that. It's always that. It's always no control. It's always no control over your environment. It's always people want control over you, and people feel powerless for some reason. That's what this boils down to. When you have the affinity to be and gravitate towards a mechanism of technology and cyberstalking, and you have this affinity that you have to go and control someone's life, that literally means you feel fucking powerless. Literally. When you have to take thousands of people, thousands of resources, okay, and thousands of psychosocial scenarios and touching somebody dozens of times, running shit into somebody, yelling at somebody when they're doing nothing. You have to do all of this stuff. For example, when I was in physician assistant school, I asked one of these PAs in one of the ProMedica clinics if I could use the restroom. And she goes, "Oh, do you mean may you?" And then they had one of my PA student colleagues sitting in the corner on his phone, staring at his phone, playing with his phone. And she's gonna punk me in front of the clinic. And then on top of that, gonna go and tell the director that I'm doing something that I'm not. That's the type of bullshit that I had to deal with and take $35,000 out to deal with that. Okay, the list goes on. I swear I could talk for weeks. This is the type of bullshit that I'm on. Okay, so this is the Conspiracy Broadcasting Network. Anarchy at the highest degree and the highest level. I encourage you to continue to work out and take care of yourself. 107.